Fitness games have been around for a very long time. Like even before the Wii, there was accessories for things like the Atari, like this Joyboard, which is basically just kind of like a Wii bounce board from the Stone Age. But back then, they were pretty far and in between. You know, when people were thinking of video games back then, they were thinking of less of this and more this. But of course, after motion controls were implemented into the Wii, fitness blew up. Nintendo made Wii Fit and Wii Fit Plus, games solely focused on making you exercise. Microsoft had their own Kinect games like Kinect Adventures and Kinect Sports. Not entirely fitness games, but I thought they were worth mentioning. There's plenty of third-party companies that got in on the action, like Zumba Fitness or EA Sports Active. And then Nintendo made a follow-up that nobody played because it released on the Wii U. If you looked up the word disappointment on the internet, you'd find a picture of me. Hi. But if you looked up the word underwhelming, you'd also find a picture of me. Hello. And on Switch, you have Fitness Boxing, which has JoJo characters in it, making it the best by default. These games accomplish their goals well enough. They get you to exercise. You have to be particularly talented to fuck a game like that up, but that's as far as they go. They don't try more than that. Then one day, Nintendo released Ring Fit Adventure. It was very different from not only their own Wii series, but every other exercise game at that point. This one was like an adventure. Like Sonic, an actual world to travel and enemies to fight, and a story that the game was trying to tell you. It felt much more like a game that you just kind of needed to exercise to play, so if you're paraplegic, you're fucked. It was unique. A year and a half ago, I got it for my birthday since I expressed I wanted to exercise more, so let's pop this bad boy in and see how it plays. Okay, but before that, I want to mention the artwork on the box the game comes in. I don't have the physical box with me, so here's one from the internet. You have the protagonist invigorated and ready to go with the main villain and baddies facing against you, and they're all encompassed inside the ring con, the main gimmick of the game. It's really nice. And then you have the case box art. What happened? It's like it just got all the life sucked right out of it. The player character isn't even looking at the enemies. They're just kind of looking off to the side like they got distracted from a butterfly. Enemies are no longer lined up in front of Drago. They're just kind of scattered everywhere. The ring con is just straight up gone. They just figured that since the box itself would be what the customers see, they didn't really need to worry about this other box. That's totally the reason, isn't it? I guess it makes sense. At the end of the day, the box art is to sell to the customers, so a customer can look at it and go, I want to buy that. I still wish they put a little more effort into this just so I don't get jump scared every time I pull it off the shelf. I should also bring up the ring con itself. You slip the Joy-Con to this little thing here and that's it. You can stretch and squash the ring and move it around. I honestly don't know how it's able to detect how you're interacting with it. Is it the IR sensor? But it's not looking at it. The ring is what you'll be using for everything. Navigating menus, selecting options, exercises, making smoothies, and so on. No matter how much you use it, it never really feels at risk of breaking. The other part is the leg strap. It's pretty self-explanatory. You wrap it around your leg and you can detect your leg movements. Just gotta slip the Joy-Con in here and... oh. As many of you know, if you reorganize or redecorate a room in a house, it's the law of the universe that you'll lose one item in the shuffle. For me, it was the leg strap. I have no idea where that son of a bitch is. So as a substitute, I put the Joy-Con inside my phone case and then wore some tight-ass pants and put it in my pocket. It's not perfect, but it's the best I got. So when you start up and set up all your information to let the game know how much of a fat piece of shit you are, you're sent off. The story starts off with this floating ring asking you to free it. You do that, but it turns out that was a very big mistake as you unleash this guy named Drago, who wants to cover the world with his dark influence. If this ring was supposed to be this guy's prison, then it was a really shitty one. He was still able to move around and talk to people. It's like if for a criminal, all they did was put him on a leash. Anyway, it turns out this ring is actually alive, so you two synchronize and it gives you this cool fiery hair, and then we make our way to stop Drago. In terms of overall story, that's pretty much it. There's plenty of minor stuff that happens in between, like eventually Drago influences the four masters who all specialize in different parts of the body. You meet up with citizens across the world who you help out, and then in return they give you something special, but that's usually kind of it. At least in terms of how far I got. Yeah, I haven't actually beaten the game as of now. Why is that? Well, you see, this game has 23 worlds. That might not seem like a lot, but each world is pretty lengthy with like 5 to 8 levels in each, boss fights, micro challenges, side quests. It's beefy, like part of a balanced and healthy meal. Not only that, but after beating the 23 worlds, you unlock an extra mode where you go through the 23 worlds again, but now even more challenging. And then after that, you unlock 23 more worlds in the game, leading up to a total nice 69 worlds. It's a lot, but when you think about it, it does make sense. It is an exercise game. It's supposed to make you get into a regular workout routine, to get into shape. If the game was able to be beaten in a month or so, it would kind of defeat the whole point. I would just go back to being a lazy piece of shit. I will say, since the game is so long, the story itself does kind of drag on, where you're doing nothing but helping civilians and fighting the same 5 guys over and over again. It really isn't that big of a deal. while the story is there to help you keep interested and motivated, it's ultimately just some extra flavor to help make exercising more fun and interesting. The only other substantial thing to know is that Ring and Drago seem to have a history together. Drago mentions like workout and health advice throughout your meetings with him, and it seems to imply that Ring did something to him that made him feel betrayed. So like, what was the relationship beforehand? He's Drago's cock ring, isn't he? Okay, so what does the exercise consist of? How is this game structured? Well, when you enter a level, you'll be doing a lot of cardio, running in place to move forward. You have certain obstacles that require different exercise to get through, pushing the ring rapidly to blow fans, squatting to launch yourself, moving your body back and forth to work those abs, and so on. The game even has some platforming you can do, which is really fun. If you point the ring con down and press into it, you'll launch yourself into the air, which helps you get to certain platforms that have a lot of goodies. I wish I could find goodies like that when I take the beaten path. Whenever I go down like an alleyway or something, all I find are used needles and corpses. Over the course of the game, you also unlock these abilities that help you traverse the world better, like one that allows you to paddle across lakes, another that allows you to fly in the sky, and of course the best ability in the game, the double jump, which makes traversing the world a lot easier. You'll also be able to pull on the ring con, which allows you to suck in objects like coins, ingredients, and those metals that give you experience points. Yeah, experience points. This game is an RPG. You'll get experience through pretty much anything really. Small exercises, performing certain ones to get bonus EXP, fighting enemies, completing a level. As long as you do some kind of action, the game will reward you for it. When you level up, you'll build your defense and attack power, as well as these tokens that can unlock abilities on a skill tree here. Yeah, this game has a skill tree. You can get even more health, special abilities like being able to attack twice in a row, getting lucky where you take no damage, some special exercises that really dish out the damage. Yeah, attacking damage. It's just one segue into another. You see, when you run into these ghost-like things in the overworld, you'll enter a battle. In these battles, focus more on exercising specific parts of the body. Purple icons indicate you'll work out your legs, yellow is abs, red is arms, and green is kind of meditation and stretching. If you match the color of the icon with the color of the enemy, then you'll deal bonus damage. It's very basic, just match the colors, but once again, that's not really the point. The point is to feel that burn. So you'll be doing squats, crunches, overhead presses, standing tree, and plenty more. And for someone like me, it's really hard. I'm not healthy, so these drain me fast. But that's the whole point. No pain, no gain, and all that shit. The enemy's also very, kinda. For most of them, it's just some hit harder than others, but some of them have unique features. Like this mat enemy can regain its allies' health. This horde creature can summon more allies. This one is interesting. It rarely attacks, but it sprays you with these juices, which will actually give you an attack buff on one of your exercise types, but it will also nerf one. Overall, this does give battles enough strategy so you have to put some thought into an exercise to you without being too overbearing, so it's not an instant lose scenario if you don't tackle the battles in the most optimized way. I really like how it's all set up. I guess I should also bring the smoothies up as well. You see, after you reach a certain point in the game, you're able to collect these ingredients to make smoothies. They give you certain buffs, like healing you, reviving you from death, changing all your exercises to a specific type, making some stronger. Are we taking steroids? Does this take place in like Russia or something? That's pretty much what you'll be doing throughout the entire game. Doing cardio, run into enemies, do some exercises, beat them up, and then return back to cardio until you reach the end. That's the gaming loop. And if you really want to, you can use the double jump to completely jump over enemies and skip battles altogether, which seems weird. If the game's all about exercising, why give the player a way to skip them? It'd be like if you got pulled over to do a drug test, but they decided to let you go instead because you did a sick backflip. Overall, it does a good job keeping you moving and focused. You'll also be consistently trying out different exercises, since many of the levels have a recommended type for what exercise you'll need to use to get through the level easier. I'm no training expert, but from my experience, it does a good job keeping me active. I do feel like I'm making progress with my health playing it. It's obviously not going to be as efficient as going to the gym or getting a personal trainer, but it's really not trying to be. It just wants to help you move around and improve your health a little bit, lose some weight, strengthen those muscles. It mixes fun gameplay with exercises, making it easier to get into a routine. As I mentioned previously, this game also has like side quests for you to do. There's all these types of villages where you can visit and help people out by doing some basic things. Get them the right smoothies, finish a certain stage while collecting something, reach a specific rank in a challenge, fight a certain enemy, stuff like that. They're not too deep. Just a little something extra for you to do. Oh, by the way, in these villages, there's shops where you can buy smoothies and clothes. These clothes give you buffs in strength and defense, and maybe occasional bonus effect like running faster, but really nothing more than that. I actually completely forgot that you were in the game for a long time. You also have these optional challenges that you can tackle on your venture. There's plenty like these, like one where you have to blow up boxes, one that requires balancing, one where you have to sit on your fat ass and fly, and of course the basic battle rush where you face a wave of enemies. They're a fun distraction. They can be a good way to cool down after a bit of extensive exercising, but it can be infuriating. I always feel like I'm so close to perfecting them, and then I just miss one coin. Like that happens more times than I'm willing to admit. It's like when you're folding socks box, but one always seems to be missing. Like, where'd it go? And that's everything in the main game. But let's say after a good long time, you finally did everything. You beat the worlds, the side quests, the extra challenges, everything. What do you do now to keep exercising? Well, it's where these extra modes come in. You have the basic training section where you can choose plenty of different exercises to work specific muscles to try to achieve certain ranks. And when I say every muscle, I mean every muscle. It's got exercises for all of them. So if there's one part you want to really work out, you can pick it from here. You also have this multitask mode where, like, when you turn your Switch off, you can still use the ring con while watching TV or something to exercise. If you do, the game will give you a gift of some kind. And then, added later as an update, we got this rhythm game mode. These other modes are kind of what you would expect from a regular training game, working certain exercises without the pesky story and the sexual tension between a cock ring and Barney the Beefcake. And that's Ring Fit Adventure. I feel like out of all the training games out there, this is easily the best one, based on the unbiased fact that it's the only one I fucking played. But even despite that, it's just so full of personality. It makes you want to come back, not just because you want to get healthy, but because it's just really fun game to play. See where the story goes, even if it is basic. It tries to be much more than it really needed to be, and it does a really damn good job at it. There's a reason why it's one of the best-selling games on Switch. Well, besides that, I'm really glad I got this game. I've been using it for a while now. While progress has been slow, my health certainly has been improving and making my life better for it.